I'm doing a follow-up to my video last week about the Sony 18-105 f4 for the APS-C system. I noticed some lack of sharpness and it disappointed me, and that was really the only lens that I have that goes beyond 85 millimeters. So, and I have a prime, so I didn't really have a zoom lens. I have a 28-75, and that's as far as I go. That's as far as I go. I am limited. So the APS-C, because of APS-C math, right? It's 1.5, so it's really like 150 something. So that was like the zoomiest zoom lens that I had, and there were some problems with it, and it made me sad. And I was like, I should probably invest in a better zoom lens for the full frame system that I do most of my work on now. And then I did. Black Friday, man. Black Friday. There weren't a lot of great deals in general, but there were some pretty good camera deals. And most importantly, Tamron. Tamron did it. They make a whole variety of zoom lenses, and one caught my attention, and it's the 28-200. 28-200. I'm actually filming on another lens, which I was not planning on purchasing, but I'm filming this on the Tamron 17-28. I bought that on Black Friday too. So I got 17-28, and then I got 28-200. And it's all gonna go in my travel kit, so I only have to carry 2 lenses. That's the idea. I can go a little wide. That was a lot of setup, I'm sorry. But yeah, this Tamron. I'm gonna show the box first, and I'm not gonna do like a lot of like unboxing stuff. It's not a like premium box. It is not a premium unboxing experience. It is just a cardboard box, a white cardboard box with some instructions and some cardboard. No pouches. Sony will give you a faux leather pouch, and they don't. Tamron doesn't. But this was on Black Friday. This was $650. So that was the box, and I'm sure you don't want to see the box. So let's look at the lens. So what does it come with? It comes with a lens hood, and you can like, you know, reverse it, which I really appreciate when you can do that. So you can pop it on, and then you can pop it off, and then, you know, snap it on this way and kind of keep it on. The only problem is with that is sometimes I don't want to mess with the lens when you're taking the cap off, and I feel like it interferes with that a little bit. You know, it's not the best scene right there, so I tend to take them off. But for storage, and because you can do that, it's really nice to put it in your bag as opposed to having to keep it in a different place and takes up more space in whatever you're doing from a travel perspective. And I feel like Tamron expects you to take the lens outside. And the reason why I say this is because it is weather sealed. All of Tamron lenses seem to be weather sealed, and I don't want to make that like statement in general, but it feels like any Tamron lens that I've looked at is weather sealed, and I greatly appreciate weather sealing. You can look at some of my other videos there was an incident on the beach. It was not a good scene. It made me sad. So yeah, I appreciate Tamron making most of their lenses weather sealed. So this thing is light. I will put the weight right here because I don't know. You know what? I can look at the box probably. The box doesn't have the weight, so I'll put it right here. 67 millimeter thread for this. It seems like all of the Tamron lenses also keep their thread count consistent at 67, which again I'm super appreciative of that, because if you're doing filters, right, or polarizers or whatever it may be, it's nice not to have to use step-up rings, because sometimes, you know, it's a little squirrely when you're connecting these things, and you don't want to mess anything up. You don't want to scratch anything. You want it to be clean, and sometimes getting the filters and the polarizers on is hard enough, and then you gotta get another thing in the mix. So one thing to note that most people who probably use gimbals probably want to know: this lens doesn't stay in the body casing. So it extends. I had to like stop my whole video. My son was torturing the dog. There was all kinds of commotion. A 9-year-old and a 2-year-old dog, they fight like brother and sister. Very annoying. I looked it up. The lens is 20 ounces, 20.3 ounces, so it's just over a pound, or 575 grams if you're in the grams. It's a pound. It's light, and I use a Sony A7C, and I'm starting to transition the A7C to replace the Sony APS-C camera that I used. So that's going to be my travel camera and my backup camera, and I'm going to be pretty much entirely on full frame lenses, which is again why I wanted this thing. So just about a pound, and the A7C is compact and light, so the combination of the two, it makes for a very good traveling combination. I'm not much of a photographer, I've said it multiple times, but when I went out and tested, which I'll probably show right now as I'm talking and overlaying pictures, the thing that I really liked was, like, I really liked being able to get in there. And I gotta be honest with you, I actually wanted more. I wanted more than 200. I don't normally mess around with zoom lenses. I don't ever go beyond, like I said, 75, 85, with the exception of some of the APS-C stuff. But when I started playing with this, I liked it. I liked the range that I got. I took some pictures of some birds and some in the trees, and I wish that I could go more. So I kind of have a feeling that this is not going to be my last zoom lens, and I think I might look into that 150 to 300, 400, 500, depending on what the Tamron line has. I think there's a 150 to 500 or a 300 to 500, something like that, and I got to be honest, I'm kind of into it. Now let's talk about the wide range. A lot of reviewers said, I wish it went down to 24. I wish I had that control. It'd get me a little bit wider, and it could also be sort of like truly a vlogging camera. I would say that the focal length that I'm at right now is 28 millimeters. And I know that people like wide, especially for the vlogging. And look, I'll go wide. I'll go wide right now. I'll go to the 17 on this one. Right? There's wide. And I gotta say, I don't think it's compelling. I said this in, I don't know, I did another video about this because I've been trying to use these lenses. But I don't think that the wideness is inherently compelling. And I think, especially when I'm framing this shot, I like this better. Maybe this is the place where I do my videos and do my shots or whatever, and it's kind of like a little set in the background. Because when I do it, the guitars are right here, by the way. So like, I'm not going to move the camera because it's on a tripod. But normally when I do the videos, and then probably because I was using the camera and testing this camera out before, you're going to see the guitars, right? But they're literally right here on the wall here. So, but I feel like with the yellow paint on the wall, it's a very uninteresting background, even with the guitars. It's just that it's the easiest place for me to frame up the shots. I have been liking doing the shots over at the computer. It gets a little dark, and I have lights underneath the cabinets. And I think it looks nice. I think the color mixes. So I kind of want to get a similar situation going here where I can kind of put some interesting light up things in the background and maybe encourage a little bit of bokeh. And I can get a little bit of bokeh because I'm filming on a 17 to 28-2.8. So let's see what happens, right? That's the whole thing here. So this is like a Russian nesting doll. I'm doing a review of the 28 to 200, and I'm using the 17 to 28 so I can formulate some opinions about the 17 to 28 to see if I like it better than my Sony 16 to 35 f4. I really like that lens. It's sharp. It's got the image stabilization in it. Neither of these lenses have image stabilization. It made me a little bit worried. Taking pictures with the 28 to 200, I didn't feel like they were shaky. I guess the in-body image stabilization, the on-body image stabilization, whatever Sony calls it, took sharp enough shots for me, and again, I'll be showing them. I like this lens. It feels good, right? The rubber, I know a lot of people said it feels cheap compared to the Sony lenses, and the Sony lenses are metal. I'm gonna get the 16 to 35 real fast just to show it in comparison. $16 to 35, Sony. I'll probably put the weight. This thing is definitely heavier than this, or at least it feels heavier. So, in comparison, yeah, the Tamron 28 to 200, and this is not a fair comparison. If you're, really, I should be comparing this to the 16, to the 17 to 28. Considering that this is a 200 zoom, this goes up to 200 millimeters. It's not considerably bigger in its base format. I don't know if this Sony lens has weather sealing. It doesn't seem like Sony puts out for the weather sealing often. Most of their lenses don't seem to, where it seems like all of the Tamron lenses do. So while it may be made with plastic and it's cheaper, it's a little lighter. I like the rubber. It feels good when you're using it. It feels very tactile and it's smooth. When you have that moment where sand or something gets on your actual sensor, it's scary to have to clean it. You read these horror stories on the internet. So I really appreciate the weather sealing, and I've said that multiple times on these videos with the lenses. I appreciate this, and I wish that all of the lenses have the weather sealing, and it doesn't seem to be a cost thing because Sony's lenses are considerably more expensive, and they don't ever usually put them on. I mean, again, I'm generalizing, but a lot of the popular lenses don't have the weather sealing, and for the life of me, I don't understand why. When you watch reviews and you're spending money, I don't know about you, I generally want to get the best stuff. And I always say buy nice or buy twice. So when you see some professional photographer saying, yeah, it's good enough, you're like, just good enough? And that's kind of where I reacted to this when I saw reviews. Like Jared Polin was like, yeah, it's good enough. You take it to Disneyland with your kids and take pictures of your kids. You're not going to do like art photography on this. That sounds like a put down, doesn't it? But it's not, right? Realistically, I am not a professional photographer. I don't anticipate that I will become a professional photographer, but this is a lot better than good enough, in my opinion. It's certainly better than the Sony 18 to 105 lens. One other thing to mention, there is a lock on the lens from a physical perspective, and it prevents you from expanding. Obviously good if you're storing things. And again, my dog really doesn't want me to do this video today. I wanted to show sort of the vlogging setup at 28 millimeters on this lens. So this is me just extending it. This thing's a little heavy, honestly, all the way out with my hand. But if I'm doing it like this, again, no image stabilization either. I wanted to kind of highlight that. If you're taking the shot of yourself, and this is not the best handheld grip, it's just what was the closest thing to me. But I just wanted to kind of give people a heads up. And again, this is with image in-body stabilization on the A7C. But this is the 28 to 200 handheld. And again, at 28, it'll get the job done. My intention and usage for the next year or beyond is, again, it will be paired with the Sony A7C. I'm going to keep it in a smaller Peak Design travel bag. Right? I have the camera packing cubes. My expectation is to do the small A7C, the microphone, and then the two lenses, the 17 to 28, 28 to 200. It could very well be that maybe this 28 to 200 is good enough, and then I might do something that's like 150 and beyond to get really that punched out range for when I'm traveling. Right? This is my travel kit. This is my intention is my travel kit. So I'm trying to use these materials a little bit more and get more familiar with them because I've been acclimated to the Sony equipment, and try to see where they're going. And I want to see if these things are sharp and pleasant to look at. But they're very pleasant to use, right? So this has been very pleasant to use. It made me really like having more zoom. This is the most zoom that I've ever had, and I want more. I want more zoom. Yeah, we're going to play around with this more. I'm going to do a little bit more video with this. While doing the handheld, it dawned on me that this was probably a very reasonable expectation of comparison. So this is the 28 millimeter at f2.8. That's the other thing I didn't mention. This camera goes from f2.8 at 28 all the way up to 5.6 at 200. But theoretically, this image should look close to identical to the 17 to 28 lens that I was just using. And it'll be interesting to compare the two right now. Now I'm going to zoom in on my face in a disgusting way that no one will ever and should like. Oh, hello. Hello, the person who needs to shave. This is... that's just about 100. It's just under 100 millimeters. So the zoom, it's zooming pretty quick, right? It's doing that eye tracking. Whoop. That was a little slow. I mean, if we're being honest, that was a little slow. That was also slow. Right now at about 100, this is at f5. So, I mean, I'm going to do my eyeball maybe? I don't know. Ooh, she can't focus. There we are. I had to back it up a little bit. So this is all the way. This is at f5.6. The ISO, I'm trying to keep it a little bit dark down here. The ISO is at, it's hovering between 1250 and 1600. So it'll be interesting to see if there's any artifacting. And I'll zoom it all the way out now. Here we are. Back to 2.8. f2.8. ISO is at 200 right now, which is pretty good, right? I'd like it. You like it at 100, but like I said, I want it a little bit darker. See, I got the little blue. I got a little blue light. I'm trying to mess around with some like background lighting colors because I have opportunities to do that. So like I said, those lamps, they're gonna go. I just wanted to see what it was doing with the light in the background. I hope this video is informative, and I hope that you get some information out of it. Again, different perspective, and I'm trying to purposely use and present in a different perspective than what a professional photographer like a Jared Poland's review, heavily influenced my decision to buy this, right? And again, he was kind of like, yeah, it's good for when you go to the Disney World kind of stuff. And he's right, but he's not right in the sense that I think this is a very good lens. And yeah, it's not beautiful and artistic, but it's pretty good lens to have in your bag and to give you that range. And I'm appreciative of it. And I'm really looking forward to using it more. And I'll probably do a video where I review it a year from now. I suspect that this lens will probably be on sale throughout the duration of the 2021 holiday season. And if you can get it on sale and get it for that $650 price, I really think you should. Especially if you're in my situation, you're looking for kind of one lens or two lenses to carry around with you when you're traveling. So be safe out there, have a great time, and take some cool pictures and video. Thanks for watching.